I'm a Canadian. There's a Canadian election coming here on Monday, October 19th, and I want to vote. I always vote, and I'm confused. I'm not sure how to vote. So I asked each and every party leader from the 4 major parties in Canada to show up here today with me so I could talk to them, interview them, talk about their resumes, talk about their parties. Not one of them responded to me. Not one replied. I thought, hey, I'm going to do it anyway. So I've done all of my work. I've done the research. I think I know what they're all about, and I ain't happy with any of them. They're all ugly people, but I'm looking for, hey, who is the prettiest person in the room so I can vote for somebody? Because in Canada, it's not about voting for somebody. Really, it's about voting against everybody else, because nobody is great. Unless you know something I don't, then you should be on this show with me, and you can comment, we'll act accordingly. Hey, but I got to tell you, it's tough being a voter right now, going into this year, going into 2016, and we got another 4 years to live with this person. Our system is messed up. It's an old English system, but that ain't the deal today. Today, we got to figure out who to vote for. And if I can help you to help me, we want to do that. So firstly, let's go through it with regards to the politicians themselves. There's 308 politicians in Canada, and they campaign on fixing things that they put into place. So they screwed it up, and now they want to get reelected so they can say, they do say, we can unscrew it. And, it's kind of like a fireman. Job security, I've got to go out tonight and light a fire. And that's basically what these politicians in our country do. So again, it's not like we're voting for anybody, we're voting against somebody. Who's the prettiest person in the room? Work with me. Firstly, let's start with the 4 major parties. There's a lot of other parties, and I get it, but there's 4 of them who recently were asked to be on television to do a debate, a national debate. The Green Party, I didn't agree with that personally, but again, who am I? They only have 1 elected seat, and somehow or another they garnered national attention. But because of that, I'm giving that same attention to them here today. I want to start with going from left to right and talk about the parties. And it's not just the parties. More importantly, it's about the leaders of the party, because in Canada, again, in this messed up system that we as Canadians have to live in and under, is the party leaders really run it. It's like a dictatorship, because the people you vote for, they're not allowed to talk, and the leaders say, don't talk now, and occasionally they say, we're having a great day, we're going to have a free vote. Wow, we should always got to have a free vote. And swing voters, typically not many people are swing voters. Most people say, I'm okay with a label, I don't want to look inside the box. For the first time in history, over 50% of Canadians now are being considered as swing voters, and I'm one of them. I don't know who to vote for. I'm going to make up my mind after I finish talking here with you. But you know what? It goes on and on. So it's about the party leaders. In Canada, 20 to 40,000 people out of a country of 33 or 34, whatever it is, million people, 20 to 40,000 people actually vote for the Prime Minister, because you go by your riding. And yet the Prime Minister wannabes, they're walking around and ramming around the country saying, vote for me. We don't get to vote for them anyway, but they're in charge. Again, a mixed up system, that's another day. If we can get a good person running the country, maybe they can fix it. The issue now, though, is who do we get that's the prettiest person in the room? Okay, let's start from left to right. The Green Party, what do they stand for? Well, all the parties are pretty much the same. Party lines are blurred, but the Green Party would certainly be the furthest left in Canada. They're pretty far over there. They want no war, no guns, and even on Parliament Hill, the leader has said, we don't want our members of the police force or any police force to be armed, because tourists and other people will look at that and think that we're angry. So even though we've had attacks, we want to make sure that we're not looked after. We want a guaranteed income for everybody in the country, and even that would even include the people who earn a bunch of money, and will just claw that back with taxes. And they go on and on. They got quite a list of things. Let me just share with you what they've done in the month of August. They've said more funding for cooperative housing. The goal is that every Canadian in the entire country will be involved with cooperative housing. The government will look after everybody and make sure everybody's comfortable. Affordable housing, they'll increase access to social housing for First Nations on and off of reserves. And they want to put a ban on tankers on BC's west coast, impose a moratorium on drilling for oil and gas, and produce stronger environmental laws to defend from pipelines, and a whole variety of those things. That's kind of the Green Party. And again, Elizabeth May, she's in charge of that party. She's the only elected person, and she's saying, elect me, make me Prime Minister, and I'm going to fix the country. Then we go over to the NDP, moving over to the right. And again, they're all blurred. At least the Green Party, I give them credit, because on their website they say all the things that they will or won't do. The other three major parties, they've taken all of that down. Basically, they're just covering what they're doing now for the election. It's kind of like these guys haven't done anything up to now, because now they're promising to fix all of these things that we haven't heard about over the course of the last several years. Even the opposition parties have not stood up and said, fix the bridges, except when it comes time to get voted for, then they say that. Back to this, the NDP in August alone, they're saying create a payment protection program for farmers and gives $30 million to Designation Canada, another $250 million for new police officers, and another $100 million a year for new police officers, $7 million a year for an emergency program, another $2 million for emergency training program, create a child care space. You want to have $1 million of those in the first year so we can look after the children of the nation, a balanced budget in the first year. How do you do that? By the way, all of these promises that they all make, we're talking zillions of dollars. Where's the money come from? People get confused. They think it's government money. It isn't. It's your money. It's my money. Taxpayers put the money in, and then these people are saying, we're going to take your money and show you how to spend it to look after you. Just share it with you. $40 million for a shelter for women. Have women not had, abused women, have they not had shelters in the past? A $40 million tax credit for businesses, a balanced budget in the first year. Again, kind of how do you do that? Create 1 million child care spaces. I have to repeat that one because that's kind of interesting. Then you jump over here to the Liberal, keeping on moving this way. They say we're going to increase federal infrastructure investment up to $125 billion. That's an additional 60 some odd billion dollars from what's currently in the budget. A refundable tax benefit of up to $150 for teachers who spend their own money for school supplies, $300 million a year to reform veterans benefits and change labor laws to ensure that employees can ask the bosses, they have the right then, for flexible work hours. So they get to tell everybody when they're going to work, and so on. Another $200 million to develop clean technologies, another $100 million into organizations to promote clean technology firms, and lower the federal income tax rate. How do you do that? Where's the money come from? Again, you make that decision, and me too, because we're trying to make decisions. Bring in a new tax-free child benefit, $515 million a year additional for First Nations education. They're not going to school now. What? Bring in a merit-based appointment process for the Senate. I never get to the Conservatives. This is the wild one, because you know what? They've been in power for several years. In the last 4 years, they've had a majority. So the concept here would be that they've done the job already. Okay? Not so fast. Now they're saying we're going to add $40 million for federal loans program, a $200 million bill to expand the country's high-speed broadband internet system. They want to give free internet to people. I guess they think private business can't do that. Got to throw in my little things, don't you know? And then they just so many numbers. They want to cut red tape, and then they say that they're going to raise this and raise that. Hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. You got the message, don't you? So what do? Let's analyze these people. Again, we're trying to make a decision. October 19th, we're going to get a new government. Even if it's the existing one, they got to do new things according to what they're all saying. So how do we vote? I mean, I think I'm going to drive around that polling booth until about 1 minute to 8. I live out in the West Coast, and maybe even hope that they close it before I get there, because you're voting against people. And who do I vote for? Well, firstly, let's look at the leaders, because as I said, it's very important to understand them, because they really control the party. Don't talk, don't do this, the system's got to be changed. But who are they? Let's analyze them. You got 4 of them. Okay, you got the, let's go from left to right. You have the Green Party. She's an American citizen. She's a Canadian citizen. Then you go over to the NDP. He's a citizen of France, and he's a citizen of Canada. Then you go over to the Liberals. He's a citizen of France, and he's a citizen of Canada. Then you go over to the Conservatives. He's a citizen of Canada. That's kind of interesting. Hey, so I hope we never have a war with France and have one of those other guys as being prime minister. Who would we fight for? What would we do? You know. In any event, you know what? It's confusing. It's like bigamy. Where's your loyalties? These are the things that I'm using, you know, in my bag here to figure out who the prettiest person is. And again, they're all so ugly. They do things to help me. How's my life improved over the course of the Harper government? Not so much. I mean, but the other parties have put in all of these issues. I can't even defend myself with mace. My wife could go out running early in the morning and bad dogs are on the street. She's not allowed to even take pepper spray. There's so many things that these people have put into place. I get dogged for days about all the things we don't have anymore. But again, back to the election now. Who are we going to vote for? I got it figured out after all this chatter. And again, it's going to be tough. But I think if I vote for a Canadian, I think there's hope for me because he's got a circle around him. I'm now talking Harper or the Conservatives. That's probably where I'm going to vote because I'm hopeful, at least, that other people in that circle will someday take over and say, hey, what about this and what about that? And I'll kind of move along to help me and to save some of my money. All these guys talk about is money and they're always spending. All the promises, wow, billions of dollars, and it comes from me and it comes from you. And these people think that we're so stupid that we can't look after ourselves. I got to tell you, it's pretty insulting. I think that with them I have hope. And again, I've got to hold my nose when I do it. With the other people, I have no hope. Their loyalties are with other countries. Their circle around them, you know what? They don't have nice things. They don't have nice programs. They're all talking nice programs now because you're supposed to, I guess, during an election. The politicians, all of them, they should be statesmen, but they're not. I wish we had term limits so we could get rid of all these guys after 2 terms, but in any event, at the moment, we don't. So we got to pick the best of the worst. What a bloody way to pick a government. Wow. I mean, I don't think any of that's proper or right, but in any event, that's where we are. The rest of it, the fix, that's another day. For now, who do we vote for? I'm holding my nose, and I know what I'm going to do because they by far are the best of the worst. What are you going to do? But do something. Don't let them continue to run us like they run us. Get there. Vote. It's Monday, October 19th. Be a proud Canadian. Kind of tough to be too proud with a lot of the stuff that's going on, but you know what? We can be again. I've been a Canadian for a long time, and this is a big deal for me, and we need good government. They need to hear from us, so let's get somebody in there that can listen to us and do good things about our rights and so on. Good luck that day, all days, but particularly good luck on the 19th. Make the right choice, and that swing voter thing I spoke about at the beginning of this, that's us, and we all need to act accordingly and give it some thought and do what's best for your country. See ya.